Hello and welcome to a House of Rugby special this week. The producers have let us out of the studio, and where have we come, Sean?
The pub. Haven't been inside a pub in ages.
How many hours? We have been set the challenge of picking our ultimate Six Nations team, the best 15 players we think are going to play in this tournament.
I'm sure there's going to be a bit of heat coming our way.
Got a Welshman in there. Surely you've not got a Welshman in there. I don't think you'd be allowed back over the border.
In the second row you have one really athletic guy and one big lump, and he is a big lump.
It would be a great test to see the teams play against each other. Obviously they can't because we picked some of the same players.
Never say never.
Well, it would be impossible for Dupont to play against himself, but nice point anyways. Shawnee, let's get into it. So Shawnee, you've picked your Six Nations Ultimate 15. Who's made your front row?
So on the front row I've gone for Cyril Boy, the French loosehead, Ronan Kelleher at hooker, the Irish hooker, and Tyke Furlong, my mate at tight head. Three very, very big front rowers, all able to move well, all good distributors of the ball, and extremely good in the scrum.
And Cyril Boy, what does he bring?
I suppose the one thing about him is he's a young prop. His offloading game is incredible. He's great footwork at the line. His scrummaging is obviously one of his major strong points as well. And he's been so solid in all the tests he's played for the French side. So I think just over the other props, the likes of Wyn Jones, I mentioned to him, he just has that bit more mobility and a bit more skill about him, in my opinion.
And Ronan Kelleher, what a rise he's had. You know, was close to maybe being on the Lions, went out into the training camp to Jersey, but in the autumn he was phenomenal. You know, how good is he? How good can he be? Yeah,
I think he's just going from strength to strength. Ronan is. He's big, 6'2". He is a monster actually when you're standing up beside him. Really good in those wide channels, like Ireland have been showing as of late. Incredibly good scrummager. His darts have improved immensely over the last few years. So he's turned into one of these, I suppose, new age hookers with a bit of everything to his game. So very, very dangerous, and I couldn't really not pick him ahead of anyone else. He has so many attributes now to his game that he's a really standout performer. And Tyke, I suppose Tyke has been around a long time now. He is the best tight end in the world, in my opinion, at the minute. You know, he's going from strength to strength, a massive, massive part of the Irish setup and the team and where they want to go. So hopefully he stays fit. For a tight head, for someone his size, he's able to use his feet so well. His distribution is brilliant. And obviously his scrummaging and line-out work is second to none. So I suppose he's the easiest one I think I could pick out of all those three. What about you? Would you change anything?
Yes, I would. I mean, I think Tyke Furlong speaks for himself.
Yeah.
He's taking his game to the next level with his passing ability, his offloading, and the way Leinster have developed in Ireland over the autumn internationals. Kelleher, we've seen, he's so explosive and knows his way to the try line. Spoken on him, but for me, I would swap out Bai for my wonderful Italian Fischetti. Reliably informed by a good friend at Saracens, Marco Riccioni. He's played with him. He's a real talent. I think he's only had 13 caps, but he's very professional, loves the gym, works hard on his fitness, is a real student in the game, wants to improve. And I think you can never really go too wrong with Italian props, always strong in the set-piece scrum area. And I hear that he does a bit of stand-up comedy on the side, so that's why he's in my team.
An exciting prospect then for the future.
Second rows for you, Shawnee. Who have you got?
Second rows, I have gone for the ever-reliant Maro Itoje and Paul Willemse. So they are my two picks. I think Maro is obviously the easiest one to pick, I think, of all the second rowers within the Six Nations.
Why is that?
He's just so consistent, such a menace, never has a bad game. Obviously tipped to be England captain now, with Farrell out, possibly, but is a massive leader within their group and a massive physical leader within their group. And for me, that's what you want from a second row. You want someone who's going to impose themselves on the game and have a big influence on the game. And he's that type of guy. He's so consistent, again, so physical, and always fit too. So he's a shoe-in for me. Paul Willemse, I suppose, originally South African, been in France a while now. playing really well with his club Montpellier, and it's just, I always like in the second row you have one really athletic guy and one big lump who's very hard to stop, and he is a big lump. Huge man, will add so much weight to the scrum, and then around the field he makes big hits, big carries, big, I suppose, dints in defence, and just, I think the two of them would complement each other really well if they were playing together. So that's why I went with those second rows. Any additions to add there?
I'm glad you talked about Mauro so much, because obviously being a teammate of his, it seems biased, but yeah, he's just, consistency is off the charts. I'd love to see him be captain if Courtney's not available, Owen. I think he's such a massive leader. The way he conducts himself, his professionalism, his preparation, the way he brings others into the game, like talks to younger players, the less experienced players. He's so good in that aspect, and you know, you just know what you're going to get with him. But I have got to change on the other side. Paul Willemshout is a wonderful player, but I don't think that he plays much more than 45, 50 minutes every week. So I've gone for Cameron Wacky. Not always second row, sometimes six, but played against the All Blacks second row and is so dominant in the air. Leicester played against him against Bordeaux the other day, and they had to pick 3 or 4 jumpers just to basically go away from him in the line-out. He's so good athletically there, and then around the field he's so quick, he can offload, he can move so well, and I think he is a massive part of that French pack wherever he plays, and the athleticism of him and Mauro together I just think will be devastating. So Shawnee, who have you picked in the back row?
So the back row I have picked is at 6 Jamie Ritchie, at 8 Gregory Aldred, and at 7 Tom Curry.
What does Jamie Ritchie bring? Slightly different,
well,
honestly.
Massive work rate is what Jamie Ritchie is about. Massive, huge tackle count in every game he plays. Good line-up operator. He's actually 6'2 plus. I think he could be 6'3. And always fit, always ready to rock. And one of Scotland's, you know, really influential players when he plays well. Can carry really well as well. It's not something he's probably known for, but his tackling, jackling ability is brilliant. It's his work rate why I picked him anyway. Aldred at 8, Mr. Consistency for his club and for France. You know, he's a 10+ carrier a game easily in every game he plays. Very physical fella in defence. Really gets good shots on people. Not really a soak tackler. He's usually an impact tackler. And just someone who's really brought that French pack, I suppose, to a different level in the last few years in terms of consistency and that solid person that they need in the back row. I think this was probably the easiest one for me. At 7 was just Tom Curry. Just his overall consistency. He gets better every game, in my eyes. He was brilliant on the Lions tour. It's hugely exciting what he can do now in this Six Nations.
Well, I've gone slightly different. Curry, same. I think, as you said there, he has the ability to put in the hard yards, the graft, doing every little bit, so the small bits of hitting rucks, you know, being the adjusting defender, getting around the corner, line speed, kick chase, kick pressure, then also those bigger moments as well with his turnovers, big shots, winning the ball back, which is great. Aldred, I think he's really become the focal point of the French pack since Picamoles probably hasn't played. He is their main carrier. He's brilliant over the ball as well, jackal threat, he's fantastic, gets so many turnovers, and they really look to him as their go-forward man. But slightly different at 6 for me. I have picked your man, Caelan Doris. The way he played in the autumn was just phenomenal, and I think he's going to take that confidence. He's been playing well for Leinster again. He's going to take that confidence forward to the Six Nations. His athleticism, you know, both wide channels and in the around 9, his ability to be a line-out option, and I just think there's more room for him. He's only going to get better. He's quite new to the international setup, and every time he plays, he just seems to go up another level. So happy with that balance. You've got your ball carrier, your line option, and then your stealer for me.
So Alex, that's the forwards. Let's get on to the backs. You go first. Let's see what we have.
So I've got Dupont and Russell as my 9 and 10. For me, I think everyone would like to play outside them. 2 unbelievably exciting players. Dupont, we've spoken about him before. he's just world class. Everything he does is brilliant. His ability to dictate the tempo for France, his running game, his support play, his athleticism is phenomenal. He's so good. He's best player in the world without question for me.
Yeah.
Finn Russell, I think we've seen a maturity from him since the Lions. He's getting better and better, and I think he brings a real X factor. He's going to be doing the goal kicking for Scotland as well, so extra sort of responsibility for him, and I think he'll thrive on that. And we just know he's got those moments in him which are massive for Scotland.
Does his moments though, does Finn's moments, the class moments he has, do they outweigh the moments that could potentially put them in trouble too?
Look, I think previously that was definitely the case. It was, too high, too low in terms of moments. But I think he's really grown since that sort of Lions tour. That last game, he was brilliant. There weren't very many low moments. It was all positive bits, and it wasn't like massive long passes or constant crossfield kicks. It was just inside balls, momentum, just something very different. And his passing range, I think, is big for Scotland. They don't have guys who can dent the line as well, so they need to be subtle. And when they get the chance, putting width on the ball, he does it better than anyone. So, look, I think he's going to have some massive moments in this Six Nations. If Scotland are going to do well, he has to do well.
Yep, I agree. He's certainly class, but I am going to change this man for someone very like him, though, in terms of Marcus Smith. I wholeheartedly agree with Dupont. I suppose he's won every accolade he could win last year. By far the best 9 in the world. I think we've spoke about him at length. Just adds so much to the game. France are a different team without him in it, and he's just unstoppable at the minute. And he's young. He's getting better and better. And very like this fella. I know he only has 3 or 4 caps, but he's someone who has probably brought Harlequins to a new level at club level in terms of his execution of their game plan and the way he's dictating the game. And then in England he showed those glimpses of this expansive game that they want to try and get to probably. And I just think his excitement levels, his youth, the way everyone kind of, when he comes onto the field, he gives everyone energy. They know they're going to run the ball a lot. And I just think he'll have a big say in the Six Nations. Someone who, he's not lacking any type of confidence. So England are going to be a much dangerous side, I think, with him in it this time round. So I went with Marcus Smith at 10.
I think it's probably the most competitive position for us to pick because Dan Biggar's captain,
Sexton's captain.
Even Garbisi for Italy, playing really well for Montpellier, starting ahead of Andre Pollard. He's a great goal kicker as well, and Intermac, who was fantastic in the autumn. So it's a lot of strength for all teams, but both those options for us are exciting.
An exciting pair,
indeed.
Who have you gone for in your centres?
So in the centres, I have gone for Henshaw and Vakatawa. Now for me, could have gone maybe Fiku as well. England, Slade probably is the most likely to start. He's a real ball player as well and was great in the autumn. But for me, Henshaw is the glue for Ireland. For all their ability to move the ball in that autumn and beyond, his go forward, his work rate, his skill set is so important for them. He gets them on the front foot. He's defensively a leader in terms of his hits, but also working both sides. There's always a centre on both sides of the ruck. And I think he's just a player that's just getting better and better every year. So he was key for me. Vakatawa, he is just devastating. Playing against him, he's someone probably we've done more analysis as a team than anyone else I played against really. His ability to get those short chips, his hard lines coming off 10 or outside the forwards from wide to in, and then it's just the ability more than anyone to just give him the ball and watch him step off either foot, power through and then offload out the back.
I am agreeing with you totally on these two. These are my picks as well. I think Robbie Henshaw has just become this complete player. His defensive capability is something that is not really talked about enough. I think he's a phenomenal reader in defence, a phenomenal leader in defence. and his attacking game in terms of his kicking game now, as well as his passing game, is incredible. Who have you picked in your back three?
So in the back three, what do we have here? I've got Van der Merwe on one wing, I've got Josh Adams on the other, and Hugo Keenan at fullback.
Interesting. Tell me your thoughts here then.
So for me, Josh Adams, I think, is a proven try scorer. The first Welshman to be top try scorer at World Cup in 2019. I think he started off on that Lions journey and was phenomenal as well. He's had a tough time with Cardiff this year, but still he has been a player that has put his hand up for them. And I just think he's always fit generally. He's always has the ability to sniff out a try, and his work rate off the wing as well. Just a lot of carries off 9 and through there. I think he's someone who I wanted to have in the team. Van der Merwe, really impressed again after the Lions, but also playing against him this year, was surprised at just how quick and how big he was, and his ability just to beat tacklers all the time is phenomenal. And I think Scotland do well to get him involved as much as possible. He's not someone who goes looking for it too much, but they give him the ball as much as possible, and he is a menace. He will beat people, he will run over people, and he's a try scorer as well. And very impressed when I played against him. And then for me, Hugo Keenan, again, some other choices, but I again, so impressed when we played against him a few years ago, and he's just gone up and up and up. Not the biggest, but brilliant aerially, strong, and defensively very solid as well, reads it well. So big part of fullback for me is that reading. You don't often see space found in his backfield, so you know, the 9s or 10s kicking into space, you don't often find that because he reads it well, he's in good positions, he's fit, he covers ground well, and that's a massive part of it. So that's my back three. I've got a Welshman in there. Shawnee, you've not got a Welshman in there. I don't think you'd be allowed back over the border.
There was a lot of close calls for me in this area, and one of them was Josh Adams, because I was a big fan of him in all through last year and the Lions, etc. I was really enjoying watching him play. But for me,
who have you gone?
I have gone for Monty Ioane and Mr. Pennell. I think your choices, I can see why you chose him. I think Van der Merwe brings that physical edge, big man on the wing. I've gone for more kind of, with my thinking cap on, the way I'm trying to play with this team, is we want to move fast and quick. And this fella has been brilliant the last couple of seasons with Italy. Very dangerous, had a really good game against England. Can step off both feet. Quite strong in the air he's not overly tall obviously, but quite good in the air, can get up in the air really well, and defensively very strong. He's put in some big hits, so packs a bit of a punch for someone who's not overly big, and I just thought he would in this team flourish around better players as well. So he gets a nod at 11. At 14, I've went for the danger man that I think is a massive part to do with this French side going forward. Even looking at club rugby, like getting the ball into his hands, trying to make something work, it's been incredible. And he's one of the French players I think that people really need to watch and understand and make sure he's a marked man. And then at 15, I've stuck with your choice as well, with Hugo Keenan. I just think the last 2 years he's brought his game to a whole new level. Mr. Consistency, doesn't play badly, always fit. He has all the little bits and pieces now he needs to be a complete fullback in my eyes. And he was a standout pick for me. I think just the way he's played the last few seasons has been phenomenal and has grown so much. So they are my back three in that team. I think very exciting, and we have a few finishers and we have a few really solid guys there.
Shawnee, this is your Six Nations Ultimate 15 team. Talk us through it, and who's your top try scorer?
So, this is my 15. So we've Cyril Boy here, Ronan Kelleher, Tyke Furlong, Paul Williamson, Maro Toje, Jamie Ritchie, Gregory Aldred, Tom Curry. We have Anton Dupont, Robbie Henshaw, Vakatawa, Monty Ioane, Hugo Keenan at 15, and Damien Pennell on the other wing. And my top try scorer, I think, is going to be Pennell.
And who's your captain?
Captain, I'm going to put Dupont as captain.
Oh, okay. And your player of the Six Nations, who can't be Dupont because he's just too good, isn't he? He's the easy pick for player of the tournament.
He could easily win it again.
Yes.
And that's why we've probably taken him out. The
Well,
player of the Six Nations, I reckon, is going to be this guy,
Tom Curry.
Tom Curry. Just because I think his influence over the past 2 seasons has been brilliant for England. Very consistent, and I think there's more growth in him, and I'm looking forward to just watching his progress. So I think this fella will be in the reckoning, and I think this man here will be.
I was about to say, for your team, I would say I'd love it to be Tag Furlong.
I think it'll be the two of these will have a major influence on both their countries respectively. But I think Tom will be, just because props sometimes don't get the accolades they deserve.
So I think it's not often a forward gets a player tournament.
He'll be more involved and have more of a chance maybe of getting that accolade. So Goody, you've picked your 15. Talk us through it, please.
Slightly different to yours. I've got Furlong and Kelleher in the front row. I've got Fischetti, my Italian man, at prop, who's going to be a revelation. I've got Cameron Woki, Maratoji, Tom Curry, Aldrit, Doris. I've got Anton Dupont, Finn Russell. I've got Henshaw. I've got Virimi Vakatawa, Josh Adams, Hugo Keenan, and Van der Merwe in my team.
And who is going to captain your team?
Maratoji is going to captain my side. I think his leadership has just grown and grown over the years. I think he's a definite starter for England. He's a huge performer, and I think with this group he would bring the best out of them and would be a focal point for the team.
And 2 questions. Top try scorer, and who would be up for player of the Six Nations?
So I would have, I think Josh Adams do well, Van der Merwe, but I think Vakatawa will be top try scorer. I think anything from 10 yards out, 15 yards out, he's devastating. Runs a great line off 10 and off 9 across the ruck. And he's just one-on-one, you're not stopping him 10 yards out. So he'll be top try scorer. And player of the tournament for me, outside bet would be Cameron Woki. I think he is so devastating in the line out, and his athleticism around the park, his offloading ability is phenomenal. I think he could be a bolter for that. If not, I think Vakatawa could be player of the tournament, top try scorer and devastating effect. So that's it for the Ultimate Six Nations picks. Don't forget to let us know what you think in the comment section below. That's all we've got time for on House of Rugby, brought to you by Joe.